Welcome to Music and Medicine. Welcome to Music and Medicine.
Welcome to Music and Medicine. I'm your host, Dr. Moshe Lewis.
Welcome to Music and Medicine. I'm your host, Dr. Moshe Lewis. I'm so excited to be joined by my friend for quite some time, and we recently just got reacquainted and reunited again, and it feels so good. Torrence Brannon. This man not only is a myth and a legend, but has really just been such a community leader that there need be no doubt. Everybody in the community knows who he is. He is so involved, not only as a community activist, but has a strong musical background, guitarist, a vocalist. And then with his group, he's been in the Leimert Park area, LA, and traveling about, really kind of helping us always know everything about New Orleans. Anything about the music you need to know. Everything with soul, founder, organizer, leader, friend, mentor, father, uncle, cousin. Torrence, welcome. So happy to have you here.
Thank you, man. I was going to go find who you were talking about just now.
Go look it up. It might be you. Yeah. Sometimes I always say it's good that we give people their roses and really kind of appreciate it. And it's not false flattery. You have been there and recognized so many key leaders and people who've come through, but yourself really just done that right thing of trying to continue to bring the positive to the community with culture, music. I can honestly say, and it's true, poise and grace. You really always have that style of excellence and always strutting the clothes, the looks, the swag, but always really keeping it so educational. I really have learned every time I've seen or read about the programs and the things you're doing. I want to go back to clock though and talk a little bit about your background, where you grew up, and how you got started in music.
Well, I go back to the birth of jazz, New Orleans, Louisiana.
Yes.
Like New Orleans, when you're from there, you say New Orleans.
Sure.
I was born there, and grew up under my mom. Don't know who my father is to this day, but my mom did a great job with me and my three brothers, instilling a sense of education in us, a love of education, books in particular. And I had uncles and aunts and cousins and stuff like that. So I wouldn't say I had a terrible childhood in any way, shape, or form. Sometimes it was challenging, but there's always the street is out there and everything, and you can get caught up. But actually, people who were street people kind of put their arms around me and kept me out of trouble. And I always tell people this story about this guy named Sleepy, who was a Mac man, a player, pimp.
Right.
And he kept me out of that game, and encouraged me to go to school and do my thing. My uncle Tank was an athlete, All-American football player. I admired him and all of my uncles. So I was able to stay kind of straight and everything, and grew up and went into the military at an early age, became a father at an early age. And from there, I served in the Philippines in the United States Air Force, and got out, came back to New Orleans. And then a few years after I came out of the Air Force and was singing with a group called the Sensational Uptowners, a cappella group back in New Orleans. And we would open for Bobby Womack and the Temptations and everybody who would come through New Orleans, we would open for them. And that was my first really, truly professional entertainment experience. And then I moved back to LA from there. But New Orleans was a great place to grow up. You couldn't help but be influenced by music in some way. And God blessed me to be an artist. So I'm an artist before anything.
Sure. Absolutely. And I didn't want to leave the footnote of your education behind. You completed your master's degree at a time that very few of us were in college. Just tell us a little bit about what that was like and your fortitude to go back and get your master's done.
Well, I must mention Delgado Community College in New Orleans. I started there after the service. Then I came here in '87 and I started at LA Southwest College and finished my 2 years and then went to Dominguez Hills. And then I took time off to focus on my organization and work and raising my children and grandchildren. And then I decided to go back to school. I think it was 2015. I went back to USC and got my MSW, Master's of Social Work. And that was something else, but it was a good experience for me, and I'm glad I did it. Yes, indeed.
Absolutely. You mentioned some of the musicians and groups that you opened world famous. What artists or what music you feel really act as a true inspiration for you in terms of you starting to form your own sound, find your own voice instrument, and then ultimately start your own group? Who are some of those inspirational artists for you in particular?
Well, my favorite artist of all time is Sam Cooke. That would be my major influence, Sam. And then there's James Brown and Ray Charles. Then we come up to people like Al Green, Johnny Taylor. The Temptations they were a major influence on me. Temptations and groups like the Stylistics, Manhattans. Gerald Austin is a friend of mine, the lead singer for the Manhattans. So really the 60s and 70s soul is really my heart, but I love the jazz artists, the Billie Holidays, Louis Armstrong, Coltrane, Miles Davis. I love the blues artists, Bobby Boublan, Muddy Waters, so many of them. So I'm really into a lot of different musical styles. I love Fela. I love Bob Marley. I'm doing a tribute to Bob Marley and Fela tomorrow night.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
Yeah. In addition to my own music. So yeah, I've had a lot of influences. And then there's Aretha Franklin's and Gladys Knight and Donny Hathaway and Curtis Mayfield.
It's great. It's so great you'll hear these names, and this is how I think we keep their memories bright, by really talking with all the lives and the people they've touched, the ways they've spread out. On that note, tell me about forming your group, Everything with Soul, and sort of what was really important for you to communicate, how you chose your members, and ultimately even some of the music that you did, because as you just mentioned, it was a plethora of options coming from the kind of rich background.
Right. Well, Everything with Soul kind of comes out of my life of doing a lot of different things, and people would always say, "Oh, you do so many things," And this young lady friend of mine, her name was Blue. She remind me, because I was so active in the human rights struggle, and in the community doing my educational work and stuff. And she was like, don't forget that you're an artist. You're a great artist. Don't leave that behind. And so I started listening and started getting more and more back into my singing and everything like that. But the concept really comes from the idea of whatever you do in life, do it from your heart. Do it from a position of your passion. And so, if you're a writer, write with passion and soul. If you're a cook with soul. Everything you do it with soul. And then the other part of the concept for my band comes from the New Orleans idiom. The New Orleans musicians were called upon to perform in many different styles of music. There was no one style. And most of those musicians don't like being called a jazz musician, because they were simply musicians, and they could play anything, and so when you come in and check out my band, we play all different styles. We play reggae, Afrobeat, funk, blues, soul, rock and roll, even a little country, man. I'm working on a country song right now, so we don't want to be confined and put into anybody's box. But soul is that essential element that I believe is what gives a great musician his thing that he gives to the world. It's the soul that you come with.
Absolutely. On that note, literally, set us up for a song that we're gonna listen to that really means a lot to you, or speaks to some of the elements that you just touched on in terms of Everything with Soul.
The Shrimp and Grits, it really is it was the most fun song that I've done lately, and it's really a intersection between love making and food. And so it was kind of a play on words, but it was like, inspired by the scene of, say, a person waking up in the morning, and you're hungry, but you're not only hungry for food, but you're hungry for some more love, So it's kind of a fun song, but it also speaks to that Southern dish, shrimp and grits. And I think that a lot of restaurants around the country are gonna, in fact, the Fixins restaurant up on the LA Live, owned by Kevin Johnson, the former mayor of Sacramento, basketball star. They're playing my record over there, Shrimp and Grits.
I love it. Yeah. Well, that's a great setup. Let's eat and take a look.
wake up in the morning after a long night of, well, you know, feeling kind of hungry, like you need a little something to soothe you.
When I wake up in the morning, love, your sweet body by my side. Feeling warm from the night before. Can we take another ride? I want your shrimp and grits. Shrimp and grits, girl. Don't you know I need your shrimp and grits? Shrimp and grits, babe. Shrimp and grits feel so fine. Shrimp and grits, you know you blow my mind. Shrimp and grits
Goes down smooth.
Shrimp and grits got me in the groove. Got this special kind of feeling. Girl, you know you blow my mind. I stay hungry for your sweet love. Darling, please don't hurt my pride. I want your shrimp and grits. Shrimp and grits, girl. Don't you know I need your shrimp and grits? Well, your shrimp and grits, baby. Shrimp and grits goes down smooth. Shrimp and grits
Got me in the groove.
Shrimp and grits feel so fine. Shrimp and grits, girl, you blow my mind. When I wake up in the morning, love, your sweet body by my side. Feeling warm, warm from the night before. Can we take another ride? I want your shrimp and grits. Shrimp and grits, girl, yeah. Don't you know I need shrimp and grits? Oh, shrimp and grits, baby, baby, baby. Shrimp and grits feel so fine. Shrimp and grits, don't you know you blow my mind? Shrimp and grits
Goes down smooth.
Shrimp and grits got me in the groove.
that I wanted to touch on is your community work in particular, because it's been extensive over 30 years now. Tell us about your organization that you started, so long ago, back in the 90s, and just, not only some of the great accomplishments, but what it really means to you and also the community.
Well, shout out to my mom, all of my children, and my grandchildren, and all of my close friends. But my mom was the one who inspired the organization family, because she insisted that we not look at ourselves as illegitimate. So when I became active here in Los Angeles in the community, I wanted to create a vehicle through which I could work and espouse some of the concepts and ideas that I had learned growing up under my mom, and to care about all human beings, but particularly to care about yourself and your family, your immediate friends and family and community. And so family started out in the early 90s, right about the time I was getting out of Dominguez Hills. And we started out working with the colleges and universities here, particularly Southwest College, providing programs for students. And then we, got ourselves involved in the gang truce movement of the early 90s and worked with people like Jim Brown and the late great John Mack of the Urban League, LA Urban League, and many other people here, John Singleton, the late great filmmaker. I was featured on a radio show called the Peace Treaty Talk Show. I think it was KJLH. I think it was KJLH back in the early 90s. And, we did a lot of great work. And I developed a program, See a Man, Be a Man, and Princess to Queen around 94. And so those programs are now, running at Locke High School, and they've run at many other schools and places in the community. But the programs are really coming out of the family organization's concepts of taking care of your brother and your sister, taking care of people, loving people, being consistent with people, being there to listen, more than you talk. And so it's a very practical approach to education, and it really listens to the person and develops a individual service plan for a particular individual who needs a particular thing in their life, and so everything is kind of connected: the music, the arts, the education, to provide some type of treatment for human beings who need to advance in their lives, and so we can do that in all kind of different ways, through the community festivals. Malcolm X Festival, we started that in 1993. Wow. We have our annual tour to New Orleans that we do. Wow. Which is an opportunity for people to witness a side of New Orleans that they don't often think of. Right. That's different from just going there for Mardi Gras or even the Essence Festival. There's deeper meaning to New Orleans. So we have a yearly trip that we do in October the 5th through the 11th this year. Right. And so so family is really just an organization that believes in people and is there to help the individual to find the answers to their problems. People usually have the answers to their own challenges. We just have to bring it out. Yeah.
Sure, I love it. Now's a good chance too to pick a song that it may be a little bit more serious, but that also speaks to your heart, or you feel maybe even embodies some of the work that you've done and deeper meaning and things like that. Some of the stuff that you've been involved with or tried to communicate. What might a song like that be that we could take a listen to?
Well, that song would be See a Man, Be a Man. That would be the one that I would say is teaching, educational piece, but it's also, I think, fun to listen to at the same time. I think you have to have a nice beat no matter what message you're putting out there. So it's a song that was inspired by my life and my mom. If you listen to the lyrics, she's telling me, hey, your father, I don't know what's happening with him, but you still have the responsibility of being a man. Sure. See a man, be a man. And I call out the names of people like, Marcus Garvey and Du Bois and Booker T and Malcolm X and stuff like that. So yeah, I think people will dig the message in the song.
Absolutely. Let's take it and take a listen.
I maintain that there are 9 central themes in life. In order for you to be a full human being, don't make a baby unless you're gonna take care of that baby. We have to protect our families, work hard in our communities, honor the elders, yourselves before the ancestors. See a man, be a man. Get it? My mama told me a long time ago, your daddy left us, son. He walked on out that door. Don't hang your head down. Rise on up and be a man. Always do the very best you can. Oh, she said, son, I love you. I can teach you lots of things. I can help guide you, my son. But I can't make you a man. Gotta stand on your own 2 feet. Rise on up and be a man. Always do the very best you can. Spirituality, culture, career, education, economics and politics. All take care of your health, raise your family. It's your responsibility. Yeah, yeah, yeah. My mama told me, yeah, a long time ago, yeah, your daddy left us, son. Then she told me he walked down out that door. Don't hang your head down. Rise on up and be a man. Always do the very best you can. Imhotep, Nat Turner, John Brown, Marcus Garvey, Paul Robeson and Baldwin, Malcolm X, Dr. King, Sam Cooke, Ali. Be who you wanna be. See a man, be a man, come on. See a man, be a man, come on. Whoa. Spirituality, culture, career, education, economics and politics. All take care of your health, raise your family. I say that's your personal responsibility. Come on, brother. Yeah. See a man, be a man, come on. See a man, be a man, come on.
Okay.
Yeah, so powerful, your music on all these different levels. And I just want to put in the relatability. Likewise, by the time I found my father, he was dead, literally. And that's why I was able to find him through an obituary. So very similar type of experience and things like that. And you almost seem to be able to form a bond on a deeper level with people who've had a similar type of experience and a journey. And I think it's something that sort of forms the foundation of our friendship and our connection.
Yeah.
The show is called Music and Medicine. When you hear those kind of words, what does that mean to you? What do you think of when you hear that?
Well, I think music is one of the most powerful forces on earth, in existence, because it transcends all of the barriers that normally keep human beings separated and keep them at odds. When you're listening to music, man, I mean, it really doesn't matter who produced the song or who's singing the song. If it's good, as Louis Armstrong say, if it's good, it's good, and you can't be prejudiced, you can't be biased, either you like it or you don't. So it's just a healing force, man, and it's such a huge part of my life. And I'm happy to say all of my children love music. My grandchildren, they all love music, and they're all very much into so many different types and styles of music. I'm very proud of them. I have a little bit to do with that.
I would say so. And speaking of things, I know that you take your health very seriously, and we were talking a little bit as we were going about you saying, hey, I'm going to be responsible, and part of being a man is also accepting responsibility that I also do my part when it comes to my health. What are some of the types of things you said, hey, let me go and get that checked out, get this taken care of, and not be afraid?
Yeah. And that's one part of it, is getting checked out and going to the doctor on a regular basis. But the other part is preventative, where, today I worked out, for an hour. I wanted to do longer, but I did an hour. Do your workouts, man, and, do your stretching, and, try to do some meditation, and try to sleep. One of my challenges is getting enough sleep. So I'm working on being a better sleeper, getting that rest and everything, Right. So yeah, it's holistic. We have to do all of it,
Absolutely. No, so important.
Very much.
Give us a shameless plug for where we can find you, and then we'll have one more song to take us. Where are your organizations? Tell us about the website and where we can find you at.
Right. I think the website would be probably the best, and that's www.familysoul. Family is spelled FAMLI, soul, SOUL, like soul music, .org. And they can go there. Then they can catch me, Torrence, Brannon, Reese, on Facebook, Instagram. Family organizations also on those platforms, Twitter. So yeah, we're all over. And then we have a phone number if people want to call, phone in, 323-864-2656. And we'll answer the phone, and we'll be there as much as we can.
Sure. Absolutely. No, you always have been. Love the voice, love the demeanor, the swagger, and like I said, the music. It just you fulfilled, I know, your mom's wishes in terms of not only being a man, but being a mentor. Take us out with one song that you feel like it touches your heart, or maybe her memory, or really kind of means a lot to you spiritually.
Wow, so many. But as far as my songs, I would probably say, I Love You. It's a song called I Love You in Every Way. And it's a love song for everybody, and it speaks to just a higher love, like not judging each other and listening to each other and solving issues together, and so, I love you in every way, not just sexually, but in every way, spiritually and otherwise. And so that's a song that I want people to dig too. Sure. And it's a ballad too, so it makes it special.
Absolutely. Let's get to listen to that. Hold on.
I love you in every way. We've been together so long now. Sometimes good and sometimes not so good. I haven't always been the best that I can be. And I want you to know that I'm gonna continue to love you. Yeah. Stay by my side. I love you in every way.
I say you were there for me, girl, during my deepest, darkest day. You never left my side. Me, you'll always stay. I wanna hold you, squeeze you in my loving arms. I'll caress you, girl. This is where you belong. Every day of my life is filled with thoughts of you. Every night when I'm sleeping, only one thing you can do.
You never left my side, and I'm gonna be right here for you in every way, every way.
You were there for me, girl, during my deepest, darkest days. Never left my side. To me, you'll always stay.
Sometime when you sit down and listen to each other, communication can go a long way. So just know that I care, you know.
Girl, don't you know how much I need you?
I'll never walk away from your love, baby.
Every day, every night, every day, girl.
Oh, baby.
I'm longing to hold.
I need you. I love you, baby.
And I'm right here, I ain't going nowhere.
Never leave, never leave me, baby.
Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm so happy for the friendship. Every time we can connect, I never feel like we have enough time.
I know.
In helping us connect with Judy Pace. To your credit, we also just wrapped up Joe Lawson a couple of weeks ago, and so we featured him, and his interview was up. So I thank you sincerely for the friendship, like I said, the mentorship, and as I'm sure you know, we're always watching, one another with that. Hey, if he can do it, that's making me proud, and I can do it too, and I need to do right. And I was really sincerely touched by that story you were talking about, Sleepy, where you might not expect that somebody could potentially have two sides, but people have, various different types of personalities may come out, and he was able to recognize, you know, the potential and the importance of not having you go the way that he did. So
Right.
I would say you've reached and surpassed your mom's expectations, and we're certainly proud of you and appreciate all the work that you do.
Well, I appreciate your work too, my brother. You've always been on it, man. So thank you for honoring me by allowing me to come on the show. I
Sure.
appreciate it. And I hope to see you soon, man. We got a lot of stuff to do.
Exactly, we certainly do. Thanks again for your time, and again, just being there in the community and continuing to be a vital force that's moving us ever upwards. We can't help to that.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Welcome to Music and Medicine. Welcome to Music and Medicine. Welcome to Music and Medicine. I'm your host, Dr. Moshe Lewis.